before the weekend was also not without a lot of happenings. My colleague Judith Auchitano puts together this report concerning the outcome of the elections and the shocks.
It was more than expected. A resounding win for former President John Dramani Mahama.
I duly declare His Excellency John Dramani Mahama duly elected with 98.9%.
Despite the last-minute twist and turn in events, Ghana's main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, had seen a successful end of primaries. But in spite of the general peaceful conduct of the elections, it did not go without some interesting shocks. Let's start with the widespread sharing of monies. It seems this practice is now the norm, as almost every constituency saw its aspirants distributing various sums in the name of transport. The issue was so rampant that it has attracted criticism from former Minister of Health Alex Sebefia, who admits it is a bad practice copied from the MPP. Interestingly, a good number of aspirants who invested heavily in the delegates did not get value for their money and soon became victims of the popular saying, "Fear delegates." But that's not all. Even more shocking was the number of MPs who lost their seats in the just-ended primaries. 16 MPs will not be on the ballot paper for the NDC for the 2024 elections. Notable amongst them is MP for Sagnerigu, ABA Fuseni, who suffered a shocking loss.
I want to believe that with the good work that I've done with them, with the rapport that I have with them, with the elevation, today Sagnerigu is a household word in Ghana, and we cannot have any acute debate in parliament, active debate in parliament without the participation of Sagnerigu. And so we have grown the constituency to a point where the constituency cannot go back.
Some bigwigs of the party had their children, mostly sons, in the race as well, and many of them left disappointed.
You sound so confident that Dufo Jr. is winning.
He is winning, hands down. Okay.
Take the case of Dr. Kwabena Dufo, who made a last-day withdrawal from the presidential contest. His son, Kwabena Dufo II, who contested the Setria from Plains constituency seat, lost to Hajia Afra Masira by just 8 votes. Another NDC bigwig, Dr. Eko Spiogabra, also had his son, Sebastian Kobi Spiogabra, on the losing side. There was a win for the son of the national chairman of the NDC, however. Johnson Asiedu Nketiah's son, Charles Asiedu, emerged the winner in the Tano South constituency after polling 698 votes to beat his closest contender, Nana Jiman Prempe. Not forgetting daughter of NDC's founder, Jerry John Rawlings, Dr. Zanetta Rawlings, who was also given the green light to stand again on the ticket of the party for the Korle-Klote constituency.
During the period while we were campaigning, it was really an opportunity for the executives to actually get a first-hand view of my track record over the last 2.5 years. You know, sometimes we had to go back to my first term as well, just to show some of the achievements as well. And I think the work spoke for itself.
In all, it was an election characterized by intrigues, victories, and some big blows. Judith Auchitano, TV3 News.
So my colleague Judith Auchitano put together that report of the wrap of the happenings on the weekend, the NDC presidential and the parliamentary primaries. Malik, I'll start off with you. You see, a lot of, in the video we just watched, there was this bit about money sharing, the cash spraying parliamentary aspirant for the NDC, Juliana Hassan, also losing the election. It appears you spent a lot of money in this election.
First of all, let me correct the impression being put out there that the NDC failed to collate its resource properly. First, the NDC does not conduct its own election. In fact, you cannot be a referee in your own court. And so, as enshrined in the Political Parties Act, it's been stated clearly that the Electoral Commission shall man or shall conduct elections of various political parties. And so, whatever has got to do with declarations, whatever has got to do with collations, as accepted in principle, is being undertaken by the Electoral Commission of Ghana. And so the NDC does not collate its own.
But in this election,
elections.
it did collate its elections.
It didn't. The Electoral Commission.
I was in the room where the General Secretary of the party was and the Chairman of the party was, and they presented to us what their own collation of the results was. They were just waiting for the election.
Absolutely. So even in the general election, all political parties will collate their own elections, their own results. But your results cannot supersede that of the Electoral Commission. Yeah. And so the Electoral Commission's results is what is to be declared. If you collate your results and you arrive at 90% and the Electoral Commission says we have 82%, it ends at being 82%. And so that is the generally accepted collation system in this country. And so the NDC had nothing to do with declarations that were made. The second thing I would want to give free education on.
Hold on for me. In the NDC's own collation of the results, John Dramani Mahama, he won with 98.93%.
And that is because what we were collating in our strong rooms was same as what was being collated at the Electoral Commission's office. And so if we collate it well, and the Electoral Commission collates it well, we would arrive at the same results. Yeah. And it's intact. And I want to give free education on this. Let no one deceive anyone that when you add 98.9% to 1.1% to another 1.3% rejected or so, you would arrive at more than 100%. No. Mr. Fuseni has been an MP before, and so I expected that you should put aside mischief and propaganda and let us educate the people on how we collate results in this country. I refer to the EC's 2020 collation. This was what was written beneath it. The chairperson of the Electoral Commission used the total valid votes cast in collecting the results. How can you include rejected ballots, things that have been rejected, things that have been damaged?
So that is because
we don't collect results that way. And I'm surprised that Mr. Fuseni will sit here and then, for mischievous purposes, try stating that we didn't do a proper collation. No, we don't use total votes cast in collating. We use total valid votes cast. And so if you go through the system and you take away the rejected ballots, you would arrive at 100%. And so who taught them at the MPP's headquarters that we use total votes in computing results in this country? We don't. And this is free education so that we don't repeat this on other platforms. So else, I mean, we would end up embarrassing ourselves. The second point, I'm happy we've all taken that free education. It's at no cost. I just wanted to use that so that you will not repeat that on any podium again. The second point has to do with he referring to President Mahama as one who has lost the election and so he cannot win election again. Mr. Fuseni, you have lost election. You said he lost 2016, he lost 2020, and so nothing new is coming on board. Mr. Fuseni, you have lost election in this country, but you have to contest again.
And I've won it.
Does that mean that because you lost your last election, you cannot win your next election? It doesn't mean that. You are a victim of that. And I know that you will be contesting again. So if you would want to use this as your basis, that because President Mahama lost 2020, it means that you will lose 2024. Then because you also lost, you would also lose. Everybody, President Akufo-Addo in the history of this country has lost election than any other person in this country. He lost in 96. He lost in the general election in 2008. He lost in 2012. But he won in 2016. And so losing election does not mean that you cannot win election again. And I would want us to also put that aside. You see, let us appreciate the fact that even the EIU report has stated that the 2024 election is going to be run on hardships, on the economic situation in this country. And using hardships and the economic situation in this country, the Ghanaian people are going to use the track record of all political parties and the vision statements of all political parties. And so, if people are going to compare economies in this country, they will compare the current economy to the previous economy. And that is simple for any Ghanaian to arrive at an unarguable conclusion that the NDC under President Mahama performed better. Again, aspirants will be used. And like I said, we will look at your track record and we'll look at your vision statement. Fortunately, the MPP may produce a candidate who has also held a high office in this country before. And so all the Ghanaian people will have to do is to look at the track record of President Mahama and look at the track record of whoever you brought. And indeed, when we were growing the manufacturing sector at 7.6%, you are doing a paltry 5.6% now. When we did electricity expansion of over 84%, you have done a paltry 0.6%. When we're running the construction sector at 1.7%, you are doing a 0.2% now. When we're running the dollar, the exchange rate at 4 cedi 20 pesos. Today, we are changing the dollar for about 14 Ghana cedis. When we're buying fuel at 13 cedis
we're still in the 12 cedi range.
I mean, even if it is 10 cedi, but we're doing it at 4.2, 4 cedi 20 pesos. When we're buying fuel at a gallon of 13 Ghana cedis, today we are buying a liter of fuel, a liter, at same 13 Ghana cedis. And then we sit on platforms and we say, President Mahama, the same old story. When people are going to vote on the economy, when people are going to vote on your track record, and again, to add on to what we are bringing on board, in the 2020 manifesto, for the first time in the history of this country, a presidential candidate appreciated his votes after the first term of a certain government. It has never happened before. From 1992 to 96 to 2000 till 2020, no presidential candidate has ever appreciated his votes after the first 4 years of a certain government. But President Mahama did. And he didn't just do with common votes. He did with over 500,000 votes. That should tell you that 500,000 more people in this country believed in what he was bringing on board in 2020. And we had already stated.
Malik, the 98% win of the former president in the primaries, do you think that will translate into the general elections in 2024?
Every victory in this party by a political party is won by its core base, in addition to floating voters who decide to believe in that particular political party.
Right.
And so, if about 98.9% of your own political party people believe in you and have decided to give you the nod, it simply means that you need additional floating voters to add on to the about 98.9% people to win an election in this country. And any election analyst in this country will tell you that it is good news for any political party. It has also never happened in this country before. Check President Akufo-Addo's results in the past. Check President Kufuor's primaries results. And from 92 till date, this is the highest results any political party's presidential candidate has ever attained. And so, once you are able to attain 98.9%, I mean, to round it up, that is virtually 99% of trust and confidence from your own political party, I believe that even the floating voter population will have a sense of confidence that your own political party has instilled a lot of confidence in you. And so it's a plus. Anybody who thinks that 98.9% is not a plus in going into an election does not know, I mean, election matters in this country, or how elections are run in any country. The second point will have to do with the message of the flag bearer that's been brought. And so, if we had same flag bearer that led us into the 2020 elections with a manifesto that over 500,000 people believed in it, it simply means that that manifesto was a solid one and was one that the Ghanaian people had a lot of confidence in. Even if that manifesto is to be alterated, I believe that there will not be significant differences in that particular manifesto. And so, if we promised the people free primary health care, and President Mahama said, should he win the 2020 election, he would have brought about free primary health care, I don't think that it is time for us to take it out. Because indeed, the people in this country still need that free primary health care. If President Mahama had promised to streamline, legalize, and properly regulate the Okada business in this country, and over 500,000 believed in that particular manifesto, I don't think that much of it should be changed. If President Mahama had promised young graduates that will be graduating at the big push, and over 10 billion will be invested in it, where when you complete university and you cannot even get a public job, you can come with your initiative and the government will support you with a startup capital. I don't think that should be taken up, because unemployment as of today is around 14%. And what it simply tells you and I is that President Mahama had the key to solving that particular challenge. And if he is still the one leading our political party, I believe the young graduates in this country would have no choice than to instill their confidence in this particular man. And so, Crosby, wholly, I am confident. I heard lots of people in the MPP state that, why are you bringing President Mahama again? Now the modi ada na modi neba ebe winning no. You be winning na mo man fanambra. Because I don't think that you would go to play a football match where you would tell your opponent to select the best players. If you have your own way, you would tell them to select the wrong players so that you win. And so I'm not surprised that the MPP will say that, why will you bring President Mahama again? He's our best foot forward. He's one with an enviable track record. Okay. He's one who has run this country with paltry monies of 80 billion and yet was able to deliver significantly to the people of this country. And so if the people of Ghana will want to compare a man who built the Kotoka Terminal 3, who built the KJTR market, who built the Rich Hospital and expanded it, who expanded the Tamale airport in this country with a paltry 44